recorded. Hi folks, this being a convention, it is being live streamed and recorded, so just bear that in mind as you do things or don't do things in front of your camera. Should I go ahead and let Steve Simon in?
Yeah.
Recorded.
Who?
Hi folks, this being a convention, it is being live streamed and recorded, so just bear that in mind as you do things or don't do things in front of your camera. Should I go ahead and let Steve Simon in? Okay, there we go.
Ready?
I believe so. I went to Sue and Steve. Can you hear me?
Yeah, hi.
Hey, can I go ahead and get your register? Oh, Steve, I'm sorry, I was looking for a different person, but it's good to meet you, Steve Simon.
Hi.
I'll let you go. Go ahead and take it away. I'll figure out the other thing.
Okay. Thank you very much, folks. We hopefully will never have to do this again, that the COVID pandemic will be under control. But I really do appreciate your patience and your long understanding on this. It's taken many, many extra hours to get this underway simply because it's a convention by Zoom with, there could have been 153 people and we're at least up to 73 now, I think. So I do appreciate your understanding. As chair, I'm Curtis Hunt, chair of the Beltrami County DFL. I now call the Beltrami County DFL Convention to order. The convention chair will be elected after preliminary business is accomplished. With everyone working together, I'm sure it's going to go to quite well. Just a little bit later, our Sergeant at Arms will guide you through the various Zoom functions that we will use to conduct our business. First, a big shout out to all the members of the pre-convention committees who put in many hours of their time to conduct their work, prepare and deliver their reports. Those committees are the Constitution Committee, and our secretary here does not, I can give those to you later. Constitution Committee, Credentials Committee, Nominations Committee, and the Rules Committee. Next, I'd like to thank the on-site convention staff, and I want to give context as to how we're set up here. You've probably seen a bunch of people running around. So I have appointed the following persons. For credentials, Mike Albrecht was elected, and as chair, I added to that committee Dennis Lunt. They have been verifying your information as you enter the convention floor. So Mike Albrecht, Dennis Lunt are here. Our Zoom host and also our policeman, the Sergeant at Arms, is also Dennis Lunt. Our timekeeper is Lynn Moore. Our tellers are Kathy Forbes and Jane Carlson. The recording secretary is Carol Kelly. Parliamentarian is Jacob Griffin for right now. I will put his name in nomination to chair later, but right now he's my parliamentarian. Technical support. Oh, by the way, Jacob's not here. Where are you, Jacob? Well, he'd have to unmute himself. Anyway, he's not in this room, but he is.
I'm in Winona, sitting at my Masonic Lodge, actually.
Wow, okay. Technical support is myself and Mary Forney. Also on site are 1, 2, 3, 4 delegates who had need for accommodations. So because of computer issues. So now that is everybody in this room. It's now time for us to go now to the Pledge of Allegiance. And I've asked Kathy Forbes to do that.
Feel free to use my background as your, there you go.
We've got one. Where is it? Right here.
Nice.
Okay, I'm holding. All right. I suppose we should stand, but
No, you'll have to sit.
I'll just sit. I pledge the allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, for liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Kathy. Okay, thank you very much. The next thing I would like to do is I am very pleased to introduce our distinguished guests who've taken time out of their evening to give a welcoming address to the convention. We had invited Kim Martin, and he was definitely going to be able to attend, but something came up within the last couple of hours. But this is a shout out to Ken. He's done an excellent job in building the state DFL party, and we're extremely appreciative of his support for our unit right here. Our other very special guest is Steve Simon. He is our good fellow DFLer and just happens to be the Minnesota Secretary of State. As we all know, he and his staff did an outstanding job of getting Minnesotans to register and vote by absentee ballot in 2020. So Steve, thanks for dropping by, and may I invite you to address our convention.
Absolutely. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, yes.
Hear me and see me? Good. Hey, thanks everyone. Thanks so much for the work that you do. I really mean that. Day in and day out, year in and year out, you do the hard work, often the unglamorous work of making sure that Democrats can get across the finish line. And I thank you for it as one who's been on the ticket, who's been on the ballot and who will be on the ballot again next year. I'm running for re-election. I thank you for having my back, and I want to have yours as well. Given the work that my office does in elections, I like to say that I'm in the democracy business, and it's a heck of a time to be in the democracy business. Last year, we had a major election, obviously, a presidential election. All elections are intense. Presidential elections are even more intense for all the obvious reasons. But then you layer on top of that the fact that we were doing all this during a once-in-a-century pandemic. So the stakes were really, really high. And we settled, as you heard in the introduction, early on a strategy to solve the public health problem, a strategy to address the turnout problem, a strategy to make sure that we had a successful and safe election. And that was to emphasize to Minnesotans their right and their ability to vote from home, to vote absentee. And about a year ago, we settled on that strategy. And our goal was to get to about 50% of people who would choose that option. And I want to note here that anyone who chooses any legal option of voting is doing a good thing. It doesn't matter which method or mode of voting. But we thought from a public health standpoint, if we could distribute it pretty evenly, that would be a good idea. Well, we overshot our goal. We didn't achieve 50%, we achieved 58%. Now just think about that for a minute. That means only 42% of Minnesotans voted the traditional way, which is in a given place, on a given day, during given hours, on election day. 58% voted from home or otherwise by absentee. So we had a very safe election. And the best part is, when the dust settled on November 3rd, Minnesota, for the third time in a row, #1 in America in voter turnout. Third time in a row. My goal when I came in 2015 was to make sure in 2016 we could get to #1. We did. We held it and repeated in 2018. And the sweetest of all came in 2020 because we did it 3 times in a row. But we didn't just do that. We did it during a once-in-a-century pandemic. And you own a piece of that. You own a piece of that, because you helped get out the word and get out the vote. So thank you for that. But we do have some lingering problems. I like to say we're in sort of the hangover from the 2020 election, because for some folks, it isn't over yet. And I wish I could say that the fever broke on January 6th with the raid of the US Capitol. I wish I could say that the fever broke on January 20th when we had a new president sworn in. It hasn't broken, and it's not going to break for a while. We have some people who are invested in, who have bought into lies, disinformation, and total propaganda about the 2020 election. And it's not just a case of people saying the wrong thing or the inaccurate thing about some past event. It's that it has real world consequences. Look at Georgia, look at Texas, and yes, look at Minnesota, and look at the various bills that have been proposed, some enacted into law in some of those states, that have one goal in mind. And the goal is to make voting harder, to take us backwards, to take us in the wrong direction. So next year and in the run up to next year, I'm going to need your help. I know what's coming. I'm sure it'll be bruising. I'm sure it'll be nasty. I've got 1 opponent already. I'm sure I'm going to get at least 1 or 2 more. Rumors are flying all the time. But look, my mission is clear, and that's to remove all unnecessary obstacles to voting, period. That's it. That's the mission. And that's what has served Minnesota so well for so many decades. So it's my pleasure to be in the democracy business. Thanks for being great partners in the democracy business. And I look forward over the next year and a half or so as we approach the 2022 elections to working with you all to make sure we can get the best Minnesota we can possibly get. So good luck with your deliberations and your business tonight. I want to get out of the way so you can get to that. But not before I do one other thing, which is to ask you to ask me when you need my help. If you've got a fundraiser coming up, if you would like me to attend a meeting, either Zoom or in person, now that we're heading towards the post-vaccination world, if you need a silent auction item for a particular event, please call on me. I want to be helpful. I want to have your back. So thank you very much for your time and attention. Thanks for everything you do and are going to continue to do. It's a pleasure to be with you.
Thank you. My line.
Good luck.
Okay. I'm live. Okay. Thank you, Steve. We really do appreciate that. Excellent, Minnesota Secretary of State. Our next order of business is reading the affirmative action, outreach, and inclusion statement. I've asked Mary to do that. No.
Okay. Hello, everyone. The DFL seeks to end discrimination and bigotry in all its forms and to inspire broad participation in our party. As part of our commitment to outreach and inclusion, we will take affirmative steps to increase the participation of members of all underrepresented communities. When you vote today, remember this commitment includes electing members of underrepresented communities to positions both within the DFL party and in public office.
Thank you, Mary. Okay, the next thing is we need to talk about chat. There might be a couple folks that are not familiar with chat. I will be asking our Sergeant of Arms to do a tutorial on the chat function. And before he does that, just want to remind everybody, I mean, we all know this anyway, but these are the things we can do on chat per the rules of the convention. Chat is used to seek recognition from the chair, to submit written motions, raise points of order, make requests for information, and to seek assistance with virtual meeting technology. So that's what we should be doing. It makes very good sense. Soon, when we're doing some of the voting, there may be a link that's going to send us to the voting. That must not be, it will be put on chat and it must not be shared. Only the members of this group can see it. And we will pause, Dennis, we will have to stop the live streaming at that point. Just remember that. Okay, what we cannot do, none of us, including myself, participants cannot debate questions on issues within chat. Debate is debate, cannot be done in chat. Personal chat among participants is prohibited. In fact, it's been shut off. Participants shall not send URL links to general chat and not copy or save contents of chat. So, I mean, it's all very logical, but just wanted to remind us all of that. So now I'll turn it over to, and the main reason for bringing up chat now is that if you have a question, like we said, seek recognition from the chair, we're going to use chat. So we need to know how to use chat.
Okay, folks, I'm going to walk you through a quick tutorial. Some of you are used to this, others of you less so. But we're going to break the rules just this once to make sure we all know how to use chat. If you go on most of you, it will be the bottom of your screen. Some of you who are using mobile devices might find it at the top, but you will see a little button that says chat. I'm on a Windows device and it's almost in the middle. Looks like a little text bubble from a cartoon. Okay, everyone see that? Those of you on camera, give me a nod if you can see that. Okay, go ahead and hit that and you should bring up your chat menu. And it says type message here. It should send it to everyone. I'm gonna say hi. Go ahead and type in hi for me if you want to test it out. Okay. Oh, bonjour. Thank you. Stuff works fine. There you go. Howdy. I like it. Okay, good. So if you I'm going to go ahead and pause and take questions. You can go ahead and unmute yourself if you have questions about how this will work. Nancy, go ahead.
So if we have a question, can we use the raise hand under reactions?
I prefer you use question, and that's because it's easier for me to track who came in first. Because on some motions, it will matter who came in first. Does that make sense?
Sure.
Thank you very much.
Dennis, CT here. Where is questions? Is that on the bottom too also?
What you'll do is, depending on what kind of thing you want to do, you'll type it in. So I'm going to do this right now. I'm going to type in question because I have a question about, oh, I sent that to the wrong person. Sorry. This needs to go to everyone. Question. There we go. You all just got, I just said question. If I want to make a motion, I will type in motion. What are the other things I can do?
Point of order.
Point of order. If I want to raise a point of order, there you go. Thank you, Christian.
Another one is simply seek recognition from the chair.
Seek recognition too, if you're trying to get the attention of the chair. Jacob, does that system work for you?
Yes, as long as you're keeping an eye on that chat at every moment. I will also add that, as you can see, when you are typing a chat, that it allows you to send a private message to other people. So make sure if you're trying to send a message that where you're seeking recognition, et cetera, make sure to do it to everyone on your list of available people to send a chat message to.
And Jacob, you and I are the only ones that can do that because we're co-hosts.
Oh, okay.
Okay, no one else can do that. Please avoid using it for arguments or what have you. Please, well, we're going to stick within the Robert's Rules of Order system. Bear in mind too, I discovered this the hard way. Sometimes the messages on your end will be a different order than the ones on ours. That's because there's sometimes a delay in Zoom. So don't be surprised if maybe I see things in a different order than you do. I've got lots of people here keeping me accountable. Any questions? Any further questions? Okay, if not, I'll go and turn it back to Curtis.
Okay, thank you, Dennis. The next order of business is the first Credentials Committee report and resolution of any credentials challenges. That's Mike Albrecht. If you could come out here, Mike.
How long do you need? To do it out of order.
If you need some time to vamp, perhaps we could have the Sergeant at Arms teach people how to vote.
All right, we were going to, yes, since he needs more time, let's now, as I tried to summarize, if we're doing a simple yay, nay type of vote, we'll simply be using the Zoom function, which is the poll function. So while we're waiting for Mike's report, this is probably a good time to learn how to do a poll. It's very easy. So Dennis is going to make up a poll question, just an example, and then you'll vote and we'll see the result here. Okay.
Hi, folks. While the Credentials Committee wraps up, I'm going to show you, there's going to be two types of votes we engage in. If it's a simple yay or nay vote, I'm going to use the Zoom poll function, which is very easy. I'm going to fire off a poll in just a minute. I got to get ready. And you will see a screen pop up in the middle of your Zoom thing. And it will ask you a question, and you will submit your answer, yay or nay. And once you submit that answer, it goes to me. The records are kept so we can ensure that I count it accurately, and I can share the results back to you so that you can see that they were recorded accurately. Let me add a question.
Although when as Dennis is writing the question, the one thing to take note of is the fact that the people in person with Dennis and Curtis will have to have their vote total added to whatever the poll numbers say, just to keep that in mind.
Yes, and everybody that's voting here is now practicing the same thing. All of their votes go on a single tally sheet. They all go to the single tally sheet, and then their answers are added into what Dennis sees on the screen, and it's all reported by the tellers.
And then you tap down there and you can.
So here's our test. You ready? I'm going to hit launch polling, and it's going to pop up in the middle of your screen. Is it Monday? It's a test of how well your Monday is going.
Any other questions?
Yeah.
I got votes from 44 of you. Okay, I'm going to let voting stay up for just a couple more minutes. All right, I'm going to end polling in 4 seconds. I'm going to end polling, and I'm going to share the results. You can see them now in the results of your screen. Most of you are pretty certain it's a Monday. Others of you less certain. No judgment. You can all see that okay? And then I can download them.
You go over there and you write down
Okay.
the Zoom total. You go to him.
Okay.
So keep it up there so now Kathy will.
What is the Zoom total?
It is, hang on. One moment. It was 47-3.
So the results that it is Monday, yes, 51, no, 4.
And I see that CT has a question. I think he's calling on me.
Thank you, Professor or whoever. When we're voting yes, and I hate to even bring this up because it makes us all not feel good. Someone can request a roll call vote. Am I correct or am I wrong?
Yes.
That is correct.
Thank you.
That'll be done by Google Forms.
That would take quite some time, but it can be done. Let me see. Any questions or concerns should be raised with the chair, but I'm happy to answer tech questions right now if anyone has any. Do we have any more tests to run, Curtis?
We have the whole Google Form. See how Mike's doing here.
One moment, folks. We're going to check in with the credentials committee. Jacob, if you have any further rules or suggestions, now would be a good time.
Depending on how the credentials committee is doing, I would suggest that I would actually urge CT to ask for a roll call on the example, is it Monday question, if the credentials report is still not ready to go. If not, we can skip that for now.
No, I'm not going to do that. I don't like them.
Report is now ready.
Okay, we have 59 delegates and 4 alternates that can be upgraded for a total of 59. Do we need a motion for that?
Now you want to upgrade. Or you
Oh,
get-
I would make a motion to upgrade the alternates. I'm sorry.
Second.
So that gives us a total of 59 delegates.
Who seconded it?
Linda Limmer.
You did, Linda.
Someone explain to them what's going on.
Okay, what's going on is, you know, I hope I'm not moving this around too much. In our convention rules, it is at this point, then it is appropriate to have a motion to upgrade all alternates to full delegate status. It's commonly done. So there has been a motion and a second. It's now open for discussion, and if there is any discussion, please do the chat. And I'll wait just a bit. See anything?
Nope, notice nothing here.
Okay, hearing no discussion on that, we'll now take the vote. This will be our first official poll by Zoom. So Dennis will make up the question. The motion is to upgrade all alternates to delegate status. And then he will post that poll vote. Okay. Upgrade. This is how the folks in the room are voting.
This is Michael Muirs. I don't see where we're supposed to be voting.
Have you got it up yet?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay, he's putting it up now.
What was the question again?
To upgrade all alternates to delegates. Yes, he would vote too. Dennis.
There we go, folks. It should be on your screen now. My apologies for the delay.
And Dennis, if you
How long do we keep voting up for? How long should I keep the voting up for? We didn't agree on that. I guess back to the chair to
it's
decide.
almost, yeah.
Ask the chair.
I'm the chair right now. We'll keep the voting open until everybody in this room gets to vote.
Okay.
Have you got it now? Yeah, by definition. Okay, voting has ceased? No?
You need to have a specific time, so I ask the chair how long to keep voting open for.
Okay. We did not establish a time for length of voting. But it's going to have to be as long as it takes to get people here. I would say on average, it's probably going to be 5 minutes, if or less. But we do need, I'm sorry, folks, it's the first time we've had to do this. Let's, just to make sure everybody's done it, we'll give 30 more seconds.
You can also, I would suggest you can also give updates for the people who are leading the polling, which I believe is myself and Dennis. It
Okay.
looks like 48 of 51 Zoom participants have voted. And so that's 94%. So if there are Zoom participants that still want to vote, you can sort of give an update. You aren't announcing what the result of the vote is. You're just announcing how many people have voted.
I'm going to go and end polling is directed.
Okay, end polling.
And then everyone can see that who reports the count.
Kathy does.
What's your
48 yay, 0 nay.
48 0? The
Wait.
Before we do that, there was a question. I'm sorry. Pam, you have a question. Pam,
Unmute myself there. So I'm sure you'll probably get to this, but as far as credentials, for the credentials committee question, when people are leaving, do you want them to report to credentials that they're leaving as time goes on throughout the night? Or just people just disappear and their numbers are different all of a sudden?
it'd be nice if you would, but you're not required to.
Okay.
For the results of that, what would you call it? Motion to have upgrade the alternates is 56 yes, 0 no. No.
Thank you very much. Okay, now just store that. Yeah. All right, now at this
I have
point,
a question from someone. Joey, you have a question.
Could you announce those alternates that have just been upgraded, please, to the body?
Sure, I'll turn you over this way.
yes, in fact, credentials will need to come in here and tell me.
And Mike, we're gonna need you to announce the alternates that were upgraded.
Their names, yeah.
What was the final tally?
We do appreciate your patience. It's actually going better than I thought it would. Nothing has crashed yet.
Don't jinx it, Curtis.
I know,
Don't jinx it.
I know. Credentials is almost ready with the names.
As you're waiting on that, the names, we had a CD1 Central Committee meeting this past Saturday. And our chair, luckily it wasn't the computer he was using for Zoom, but about 15 minutes before our meeting started at 1 p.m. on Saturday, his computer crashed as he was getting a new list of Central Committee members ready to go for the entire congressional district. So don't jinx it, Curtis.
Okay, the 4 delegates for alternates that we upgraded to delegates are Mary Forney, Benjamin Westlow, Mary Levine, I'm not sure I'm pronouncing that right,
Marilyn Levine.
and then Gary Danielson.
Okay, at this point now, have you admitted them?
Everyone's in.
Yeah.
Okay, they're in. Okay, thank you very much. The next order of business is, where are we? Election of convention chair. The highest chair nominate Jacob Griffin to be chair of the convention. Is there a second?
You don't actually need a second for nominations.
Oh, that's right. Okay. Are there any other nominations for chair of the convention? Any response? Okay.
Yeah, we got 3 times.
I have a question. I just submitted it. So you with the chat and that stuff. I think so who is going to be the parliamentarian?
That is up to the chair to establish their own. That's always the chair's prerogative.
And if you are elected, Mr. Crippen, who's going to be the parliamentarian?
I'm sure that.
I'm talking to Mr. Griffin, Mr. Chair.
Oh, okay, all right.
I would probably consult with Curtis and with let's see, with Dennis to.
He just said it's up to the chair.
Right, and that's what I'm saying. I would, as for any points of order questions, I would consult with Curtis and Dennis, who are helping lead the meeting.
Well, you're the chair.
I'm not the chair yet.
If it passes, were you the parliamentarian at our last meeting?
Yes.
The last two.
Okay. I'm still waiting for your answer that you were going to send me on a question, but I've made my point.
Okay. Let's now bring this to a poll vote. So now it's another poll vote. So Dennis will call the vote, or Dennis will make the vote. Well, we still have to vote on it.
How do I do this?
What is it?
Is this?
Yep. So this is chair.
Okay, folks, the vote is coming to you now. You do the same way we did before. Just give me a moment. We will put 2 minutes on the clock unless everyone votes. Twenty more seconds, folks. Okay, ending polling now. I'm going to share the results. Bear in mind that they need to add the votes that are in the room, so the results will be slightly different.
Okay, nice over and ask him for the vote.
37 yes. 11 nay.
The results for the nomination of Chair Jacob Griffin is 45 yes, 11 nay.
Okay, the motion passes. Jacob is now the chair. Thank you very much, Jacob. And I now turn it over to the convention chair.
All right, thanks, everybody. Some of you are familiar with me. I was, as CT had asked, and we had answered, the parliamentarian for your meeting last summer, fall, that happened in 2 parts. Greetings from Winona. Greetings from a person who is about to have his first vaccine shot tomorrow at about 3:21 p.m. The Moderna. So I'll be Team Moderna as of 3:21 or so tomorrow afternoon. But let's get on with this, because enough about me and the world outside of this convention. I am going to officially appoint our tellers as Kathy Forbes and Jane Carlson, our Zoom host and Sergeant at Arms, Dennis Lunt, our timekeeper, Lynn Moore, and our special needs technology assistants as Curtis Hunt and Mary Forney. The next order of business is actually officer reports, but I have a question for those who have either been recommended by the nominations committee or might be seeking nomination from the floor. Are there any of the 5 table officers who are seeking re-election? I know at least 2 of them are. And you'll have to unmute, Curtis.
Yes, there are table officers that are running.
Are all 5 of the table officers who are currently in office running for re-election?
4 out of 5.
If the person that's not running for re-election wishes to give an officer report at this time, that is in order. Otherwise, we shall hold any other officer reports until after the elections have occurred.
And that person is not present.
Okay. With that, I will start with the next order of business. The election of the Beltrami County DFL party officers. And I would now open, or first, I will offer the nominations committee to give a report on this.
Point of order, Mr. Chair.
Yes.
We skipped the rules.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, I forgot to write that down. I'm so sorry. That's my own personal insight. We need to, wow. Sorry, I was writing down the agenda from my email because I forgot to print it off, but I have all the rules. I have the rules, but I forgot to print the agenda. I would entertain a motion to officially adopt first the agenda, the proposed agenda that was sent with the convention notice. We have to do these 2 separately, unfortunately.
So
you're on mute, CT.
Sorry.
There you go.
Also move the acceptance of the agenda as presented.
Is there a second?
I'll second, Mr. Chair.
Okay. And since we're using this sort of a motion, Dennis, we need you to create a poll on the adoption of the agenda. Let's try to give it about a 2-minute vote. I think it'll go faster than that, but let's give it 2 minutes just to be safe.
Yeah, let me make sure I'm muted. Oh.
Okay, folks, it's popping up now. You have 2 minutes.
And we're at 10 seconds into that vote now that the poll has been released. I do have to say that Zoom, it's very nice that the co-hosts of the meeting can actually see how long the poll has been presented to the meeting participants on Zoom. So we're at 30 seconds. We'll give it the full 2 minutes unless the full 51 of you on Zoom vote and or you don't. Well, yeah, we'll give it the full 2 minutes most likely. "48 of 51 on Zoom have voted after the first 52 seconds. 49 now. The 45-second warning for the last 2 Zoom participants and anybody participating in the vote at the headquarters. The 30-second warning. The 20-second warning. 15. 10, 8, 5 seconds. Mr. Sergeant at Arms, please close the poll on Zoom. Thank you.
48 to 1.
So if the secretary could report. Oh, and actually I forgot to appoint our recording secretary. Apologies. How dare I forget the secretary as the fact that I have been a secretary of the state party over the course of the last 10 years, 8 of the last 10. Please, Madam Secretary, give us the results for the total.
Is it okay if the teller does it?
Or the teller, either one.
Yeah.
Okay, the results for the adoption of agenda 56, yes, 1 nay.
All right, thank you. Now we are on to if Dennis is, I'm talking, if you could prepare the poll for the adoption of the rules, although, yeah, so I will entertain a motion now for the adoption of the proposed rules.
Mr. Chairman, I sent something into Dennis. I'm going to move an amendment. I don't know if you want to do it before or.
Well, we would have to do it before. What?
Okay,
please,
my amendment. Okay, I don't see it in the rules, and if I missed it, I'll back off.
Mm-hmm.
I would like, if there's multiple candidates nominated, that Ms. Forney or create a lotto system and Mr. Lunt draw the names from the hat to give us the order of speaking.
Yeah. That is well taken. I don't think we need any sort of an official, let me just read here the election. Here we go. Party officers elected.
If it's within your authority, Mr. Chair, I'm fine with that. But I've seen it manipulated other times, to be blunt.
Right. I think that may have been an oversight in our. I didn't work on this committee for the Constitution Committee for the state, but I'm seeing now that there is no specific.
I think it's up to you, Chair.
Lot. So I will just assume the authority of that, and I will ask that if there is a contested ballot, that we draw lots between the candidates for any given office. Okay, does that satisfy?
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Completely satisfied.
Thank you. All right. So with that, are there any amendments to the proposed rules that were sent to you with the convention notice and the Zoom link? If not, hearing none, I will ask that the Sergeant at Arms present a poll to verify the motion or not?
I motion to accept the rules as presented.
Is there a second?
Jean Christensen, I second.
All right, thank you.
Seconded.
Now, please conduct the polling, Mr. Lunt, our Sergeant at Arms. Thank you. As we're going through this vote, where we're at the first 30 seconds, this will be another 2-minute vote. I did want to say that as I was looking through the rules, both the rules that were adopted and proposed for this convention that we're adopting now, as well as the suggested virtual meeting rules that were adopted by the CBRC and then presented to the State Executive Committee for their approval to be used for this year. One of the things that was an oversight, another oversight, because we're all sort of still inventing this as we go, as we need to, you know, a lot of so much thinking and yet so much forgetting. If you are seeking recognition, when you introduce yourself to the convention, you can both state your name. We're at the 30-second limit or 30-second time notice for the vote of the rules. If you do seek recognition, you can state your name. You must state your name and the precinct that you represent, or the unit that you represent, or why you are on the central committee or at the convention of your DFL unit. But you may also speak your pronouns. That was another oversight. The 2-minute warning is over. Please close the poll. Mr. Lunt. Actually, I can do that. Huh? As our tellers are getting the announcement ready for the results of this motion, just a reminder, if you are seeking recognition, when you state your name and the reason that you are on a member of the convention, you can also state your gender pronouns. So it will not be out of order to state your gender pronouns if you do so. Do we have the results of this vote for adopting the current rules, the proposed rules? I think you're on mute. Let me unmute you. There you go.
The adoption for the proposed rules is 51 yay, 4 nay.
All right, thank you very much. We have our rules, we have our agenda. I'm sorry, I forgot to write, wow, that down. Thank you, CT, for pointing that out. Your point was well taken. So now I will restate that officer reports, because the officers in attendance at this meeting are all seeking re-election. No officer report can be given before those elections, so as to not let them to electioneer. So with that, I will ask somebody from the nominations committee to present their recommendation for, yes.
I apologize. We need a second credentials report according to the.
Oh, yes, sorry. Second credentials, then we'll keep moving on. I look like an idiot. I'm sorry.
You're doing fine.
Okay, we still have 59 delegates with the upgraded alternates.
And I should say that if any other alternates, because of the motion you adopted 3 motions ago to upgrade any alternates, the State Executive Committee of the DFL adopted a provision to allow any one of these conventions or business conferences happening in 2021 to upgrade all alternates regardless of, so all alternates can be upgraded from now until the end of the meeting. So any alternate that appears would automatically be considered a voting delegate.
Okay.
Just to keep that in mind.
We haven't had any new ones come on, so. Delegates or alternates, it stayed the same.
Oh no, sorry. We just saw something come up in my Facebook. Apparently, Vice President Mondale has passed away.
Oh.
So that is sad. Let's take a 30-second moment of silence. If that is in fact true, I don't doubt that it is, given the person who posted it.
Mr. Chairman, given we've kind of been at this for an hour and a half, and given the news you just gave us, which is incredibly sad, would a 2-minute brief recess be appropriate, or does people want to keep slogging on?
I will just sort of ask we'll take another silent time after your question has been answered. But do people want to take a recess? I guess the easiest
Let's
thing to
just
do would be
keep going. Some people have to work tonight.
all right.
Thank you, Lisa.
All right, let's do this. It is 8:05:40. 20-second silence. And now I have an understanding of probably why we did not have Ken Martin at our meeting. Okay, so I will now ask, we had the second credentials report. I will now ask the nominations committee to present their recommendation or not of any recommendation for the election of a unit chair. And then we will entertain any other nominations after that.
So Lynn Ward, Executive Committee Director. I am Chair of the Nominations Committee. Our Nominations Committee nominates for Unit Chair Curtis Hunt.
Okay, the Nominations Committee has put into nomination the name of Curtis Hunt. Are there any other nominations? Are there any other nominations?
I would like to nominate CT Mahula.
The name of CT Mahula has been nominated. Do you accept the nomination, CT?
Yes.
Okay. Are there any other nominations for the position of Beltrami County DFL Chair?
This is Ernest Apagard Peltier. I'd like to self-nominate.
Okay, Ernest Apagard Peltier has been nominated. Obviously, you accept the nomination. Are there any other nominations? Are there any other nominations? Are there any other nominations? If not, I will declare nominations closed, and I will ask that Dennis create some form of lot for the 3 nominated candidates to choose from those lots to have 2 minutes, I believe, from the rules. Let me just double check. Yes, 2 minutes each, up to, just always reminder, up to 2 minutes. You don't have to use the full 2 minutes. But I would ask Dennis to create a lot. Thank you.
We are
And I'll just restate, Curtis Hunt, CT Marhula, and Ernest Opegard Beltier are the 3 people nominated for unit chair.
We are working on the poll right now. Will we do speeches at this point?
Yes. Well, first the poll won't need to happen for a bit.
Yep.
So, but we do need the lots. So how do you what is your procedure?
I have a
Sergeant at Arms?
basket. I have a basket here. I have a basket here with all the names inside. As CT suggested, I can reach in and
Pick one.
if you all are okay with this.
Okay.
I'll hold it right here so I can't see anything. There we go. First name is CT Marhula.
All right, CT will go first with up to 2 minutes. Up to 2 minutes.
Well, Professor Lunt, that's the first time I've been first on any list in the Beltrami County DFL, except lists that I've...
Sorry, CT, just real quick. Can I make sure that our timekeeper, Lynn Moore, is taking the time? And if you could, I will allow you to be able to speak on the Zoom so that you can inform all 3 of the candidates when they have 30 seconds, 15 seconds, 10 seconds, and then they should stop. Is that suitable for all the candidates?
Yes.
And the timekeeper?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Lynn. CT, sorry about that.
No problem, Mr. Chair. First, I want to explain my Roseanne Barr Kanye West rant a couple of months ago. Well, it is no excuse. I am on occasional prescription pain drugs for back pain. You saw proof that someone should never have even one drink when taking this medication. Now to the issues. Politics is about addition, not subtraction. I have chaired similar units at 3 times, each time increasing membership and money. Twice I managed campaigns that flipped long-term red seats to blue. I will reach out to bring labor, teachers, natives, and other minorities to the party. I'm an active member in Progressive for Change and the DFL Native American Caucus. We need transparency, inclusion, and delegation, not secrecy, exclusion, and controlling micromanagement. Transparency, we will not have, quote, confidential secret meetings. Inclusion, both Bernie and Biden bros will be welcome at the big table, not delegated to the kids' table. Delegation, people to take on a task will not be micromanaged. Steve Nelson knows how to put on a fair booth. Steve and Mike know how to do a float. Mike Simpkins, Joey, and Charles all know how to do a rally. Empower and trust these people. Don't micromanage and control them. I offered to put on a fundraiser. It was declined. After being rejected, I worked with Clearwater, and we were days away from having Keith Ellingson would come to Bagley for the MLK fundraiser. The chair called me and said Curtis Hunt had called him and said he should not work with CT Marhula. Stop and think about that. Our present chair nixed AG Ellingson coming to Bagley. I'm not hearing you. Communications and notices will go to all who request them, not just a special list. I do recognize the difficulty caused by COVID. So I am, and pretending we did well in 2020 is a huge mistake. We got shellacked in the rural areas. However, in the interest of unity, I am withdrawing as a candidate and urge Curtis to do this.
All right. Thank you, CT.
Mr. Chairman, I was not able to see or notice the hearings, the warnings. Did I get was I able to make my last statement?
I would say no. I heard the 30, I heard the 10 and the 15 and the stop from Dennis.
You're in the room. I didn't. I wanted to announce.
I'm not in the room. I would remind you that I'm not in the room. I'm in Winona. So if I could hear it, you should be able to hear it.
And I couldn't. And my wife sitting downstairs couldn't. All I wanted, Mr. Chairman, point of personal privilege.
I'm not going to recognize your point of personal privilege. Please mute the first candidate who has given his 30 second or 2 minutes. We need to move on. Please, Dennis, take the next name out of the basket.
The next name is Curtis Hunt.
Thank you. I really do appreciate the work of this fabulous unit this last couple of years. We've made tremendous progress, both in the outreach as far as our abilities to raise money for candidates. We passed the all-time record for candidate support, and it's all due to the fantastic work of the unit. I was the chair, but everybody else did the work, and I really, really am appreciative of that. And I would very much like to continue because we do need to win in 2022. That's why we're in business here. We've got a big road ahead of us, but 2022 is a big challenge, and we've got to get to work immediately. So I do appreciate your vote, and I will put in as many hours as it takes, as I've already been doing, to make sure we win. Thank you very much.
All right. The final candidate, just by order of elimination, is Ernest Opegard Peltier. You have 2 minutes.
Bonjour, I'm Ernest Opegard Peltier. I'm running for Beltrami County Chair in protest to Chair Curtis Hunt. Under Curtis, he has shown intolerance and authoritarianism. We saw one of the greatest losses that our county unit has seen in decades. A complete board wipe, including 3-decade owning Minnesota Congressional District 7 through Representative Colin Peterson. Curtis' leadership might be the final nail in the Democratic Party in northern Minnesota, as he has put a distance between our unit and several local leftist community organizations predominantly run through the BIPOC leadership, as he has pushed active and motivated BIPOC organizers and party members from our table here in the local meetings, with several grievances filed with the state party along with the state caucuses over obscene racism within our local unit. Curtis's foolishness is wasting our unit's funds on an office that landlords spent the end of the 2020 cycle overriding our branding efforts with huge Republican signage that made our party's animal represent us. I am not running for Beltrami County Chair. I believe that it is best for our county to not re-elect that foolishness again. I rescind my nomination and ask this body to replace Curtis Hunt. Miigwech.
All right. Thank you. I will now ask, so I got a direct message from CT. Could you state what you had said at 8:15? My apologies. Ernest has withdrawn, but CT, can you restate what you were telling me?
I also am withdrawing.
So we have the withdrawal of CT Marhula and Ernest from the nominations, and only have then one candidate for chair of your unit, Beltrami. Since there is only one candidate now who has been nominated and has not withdrawn, I would entertain a motion to elect Curtis Hunt by acclamation via the polling, rather than having to do the full Google form, since there are only now only one candidate.
So moved.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
I second.
Mr.
Okay,
Chairman,
we have
what, well, no, I'm sorry, I'm confused. What, we're still gonna do the polling, correct?
Yes, we're doing the polling because there is only
Okay,
one candidate, and the motion is to elect Curtis by acclamation. If we had still had a contested election, we would have gone to the Google form vote.
okay, oh, not, thank you for the
Yep.
clarification. So we'll still have a yes or no?
We'll have a yes or no vote, which I'm hoping Dennis is working on currently.
We have a something about a white ballot in chat, if you could address that while I get that.
Yes, Mike, could you explain what you mean by a white ballot?
A white ballot means acclamation, unanimous consent for.
Okay,
Curtis
that's
Hunt to be our
what
chair.
that's what I had stated. So we're on the same page there.
Yep.
Dennis, if you could create a polling option with, shall we elect Curtis Hunt as chair of Beltrami County DFL, yes or no? That would be the floor vote that Joseph Opegard Pelletier is asking for as well. And Mike.
Yeah. Okay, I'm ready. Here we go.
All right, the polling is happening. We'll give this 3 minutes. Is that okay with everybody? Sorry. Just like we are at the halfway mark. We're at 1 minute and 35 seconds. We have another minute and 20 seconds now at 1:40. We are at 2:20, 40 seconds left in this vote. On Zoom, we've had 47 of 51 votes occur. Obviously, I have no idea how many votes have been taken for the tally in person at Beltrami County headquarters. 20-second mark. All right. Please close the poll. Thank you. I will ask our teller to announce the results of the vote.
32.
Or Dennis, somebody.
The results of the vote for Curtis Hunt for Beltrami County DFL, 40 yes and 15 no.
All right. Curtis has been elected chair for Beltrami County DFL. Congratulations. I will now first state that we're about to do the election of vice chair. I will announce that the vice chair, of course, cannot be of the same gender identity as the chair. And to my knowledge, Curtis identifies as a male, which means that the vice chair for Beltrami County DFL cannot identify as a male. So with that, I will ask the nominations committee to present their report, and then I will open further nominations if there are any.
Okay, Lynn, Chair of the Nominations Committee. We nominate for Vice Chair Mary Forney.
The nomination of Mary Forney for DFL Vice Chair has been presented by the Nominations Committee. Were there any other applicants for, there's a question, were there any other applicants who screened for that specific position?
No.
Okay.
Oh, yes. No.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, essentially anyone who screened for chair or vice chair essentially would be the same. So did anyone screen for chair or vice chair that was not of male gender identity? Let's ask it that way.
I nominate Renee Keyser.
One second, Tyler. 1 second.
No, there was no.
Okay. Are there any other nominations beyond Mary Forney? Tyler, if you do still want to nominate that person, please do so.
I would like to nominate Renee Keyser for that position. Renee Keyser.
And does the recording secretary and our sergeant at arms and tellers know the spelling of that name? Renee Keyser?
Yes.
Okay.
We do know. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Dennis. Are there any other nominations for vice chair? Reminding you that they have to be not identifying as male. Are there any other nominations? It's my second time asking. Are there any other nominations? Before I close nominations, I should ask, Renee, are you present and do you accept the nomination from Tyler?
I am present, but I have to respectfully decline the nomination. Thank you.
All right, Renee has declined the nomination. I'll ask one more time. Are there any other nominations for vice chair?
This is Nancy Bolio, and I will self-nominate.
Nancy self-nominates. All right. Are there any other nominations? This is my last time asking. With that, I will close nominations and I will ask Dennis to write the names of Mary Forney and Nancy, is it Bellio? I'm sorry.
Bolio.
Bolio.
Okay, thank you. From Leech Lake, I will ask you to write their names on pieces of paper and put them in the basket so we can draw lots.
They're getting them for me. One moment.
Yep. Sorry that the Fritz Mondale dying is throwing me for a bit of a loop.
One moment, let me find that basket.
In the rules for party officer election, somebody is asking if they had screened. There are no rules in the rules that were adopted that I can see that stated that anybody who was nominated from the floor had to be screened. So that is an irrelevant question to this point. Dennis, please draw lots.
The first name is Nancy Bolio.
All right, Nancy, you have 2 minutes, Miss Timekeeper. Before Nancy starts, please remember to give
Mr. Chairman?
CT, yes.
I hate to interrupt you at this time. I should have emailed you. I think it would be easier if the timekeeper kind of like had a 30-second and a 15-second warning sign that the person could watch. Because maybe I was the only one, but I had a lot of trouble hearing her when I was concentrating. But I'll defer to you.
I could see that. The only thing on that is that generally when they're not speaking, they are on mute, so they wouldn't be able to. But why don't we do it this way? If the timekeeper could just use a marker or something to create a 30-second warning sign, a 10-second warning sign, and a stop warning sign, and make sure to keep your Zoom unmuted so that you can state, so that your screen pops up in the speaking order. And it might be easy for both Nancy and for Mary to be there. You have different options for view on Zoom. I would suggest that you go onto speaker view so that only the person speaking is being viewed during that time, and so that the timekeeper will pop up in your screen. With that, Nancy, you have 2 minutes.
Okay, Buju, I'm Nancy Bolio. I am a citizen of the Leech Lake Reservation. I reside on the reservation in Beltrami County and have served as a delegate for about, I'd say, 4 years. And I live in the Sugar Bush Township. And I think I make a great candidate because of being Native. And I feel that our people have been left out of the dialogue on many, many different occasions at many political fronts, local, state, and federal. And I feel because issues at hand are important to all of us, that I feel that having a Native as a vice chair would really put perspective to the type of relationships that we need here in Beltrami County. In the last 4 years, it's been a rough ride, and the work I do with Minnesota 350 is a lot of our treaty relations. And I feel under treaties, somehow we should have a place at the table. And it's unfortunate that we have to run every time and be outvoted and not have the support to hold these positions. And I feel I bring a diverse background. I've been political for many years, and I speak with honesty and show up with good intentions and mean every word I say. So I'm going to represent all people, especially our people, because of
30 seconds
being underrepresented. And so I feel this is an opportunity for us to be engaged in this unit here in Beltrami County in a true, honest fashion. And I appreciate those that can support me, and I will always do a good job and lead with my heart. Miigwech.
10. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Nancy. Our other candidate for vice chair of Beltrami DFL is Mary Forney. You have 2 minutes from the time that you start speaking.
Is this on the right place?
I would point the camera a little bit more up. There, oops, a little more.
More up.
There, that works. All right, 2 minutes.
Okay. Greetings, delegates. Involvement in the democratic process is both challenging and very rewarding. I've served the last 2 years as vice chair, giving me the opportunity to work with an amazing team in the decision-making process. I am seeking a second term as vice chair to continue working on the goal of flipping this part of the state from red to blue, with a critical election on the horizon. We desperately need a trifecta in St. Paul, so legislation can be passed that will provide opportunities for residents of northern Minnesota. In order to achieve this ambitious agenda, our unit will continue to work on outreach by listening to the voters and determine what is meaningful to them and their families. In addition, increasing representation from our diverse communities and support economic security for all residents is extremely important. The key, and I stress that, to expanding our base is developing positive, uniform messages that reflect DFL values and principles. I am committed and dedicated to electing Democrats by being part of the organizational process. And I am asking for your vote. And I leave you with this quote: "We all do better when we all do better." The words of the late Paul Wellstone.
30 seconds.
Is that it?
All right. Thank you, Mary. We have heard from both of our candidates for vice chair of Beltrami County DFL. I will now ask Dennis to present the Google form, which should have a vote for Nancy, a vote for Mary, or a abstain.
Okay, folks. This voting, whenever we have more than one candidate, we have to use a different set of technology, but don't worry, it's very easy. In fact, so easy that you've used it already. It's a Google form that you use to register, like the one you use to register. In a moment, I'm going to paste a link into chat. You're going to click on that link and it will open a browser window. This should work even if you're on a mobile device. There it will ask for your name, your PIN number, the one you used when you came in, and your selection for this vote. When you're done, you can come back here to Zoom. If for some reason Zoom closes, come right back in and I will let you in, but it shouldn't close. Are there any questions on that format before I give you the link?
I will add that we will make this, unless the credentials and tellers can tell me otherwise, I will make this a 10-minute vote for Google Form. So 8:45, 8:46, or it just turned to 8:36 on my computer. So 8:46 will be the time limit for voting on this ballot. Please do so. I'm going to take a bathroom break, so please do not ask me any questions. You have 10 minutes to vote. That should be the only thing that's happening. It's essentially the floor is frozen. We're taking a vote on Google Form for vice chair. That will be sent momentarily.
Is this it?
It's
in the chat.
right there. And limit for the out of fields.
I'm pausing recording.
Yes. And YouTube. How's the YouTube?
One moment.